Have you ever felt like your brain is wired differently and society just doesn't get it? Like you're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers? If you're nodding right now, you might be what we call a neurodivergent sigma female. And trust me, the world isn't quite ready for your power. First things first, what exactly is a sigma female? Sigma females are independent, self-reliant women who march to the beat of their own drum. They're not drawn to the spotlight like alpha females, nor do they conform to societal expectations like betas. They're lone wolves, deep thinkers, fiercely independent, and unapologetically authentic. First things first, what exactly is a sigma female? Sigma females are independent, self-reliant women who march to the beat of their own drum. They're not drawn to the spotlight like alpha females, nor do they conform to societal expectations like betas. They're lone wolves, deep thinkers, fiercely independent, and unapologetically authentic. Now add neurodivergence to the mix. Neurodivergent individuals perceive and process the world differently. The combination of being a sigma female and neurodivergent creates a truly unique force of nature. But as you might imagine, it's not always smooth sailing. All right, let's get into the 8 reasons why the world isn't ready for neurodivergent sigma females. Starting with the first 2. Reason 1, they challenge the status quo. Society, as we know it, is built on a foundation of conformity. Rules, traditions, and norms exist to create predictability, ensuring that things flow smoothly and without disruption. Whether it's the expectation to follow a linear career path, adhere to certain social customs, or even behave a certain way, most people accept these constructs without question. For many, this predictability feels comforting, a guide to navigate life without straying too far from the pack. But for neurodivergent sigma females, that comfort doesn't resonate. Instead, they see conformity as a limitation, a box that's far too small to hold their unique perspectives, creativity, and ambition. Neurodivergent sigma females are natural-born questioners. They don't just accept the world as it is. They look at the structures and traditions around them and ask, why does it have to be this way? For them, phrases like, "this is how it's always been done," aren't answers, they're challenges. These women see opportunities for change and innovation where others see unchangeable systems. From questioning outdated workplace hierarchies to redefining what success looks like, they approach life with a mindset that refuses to be bound by traditional norms. Take, for example, the concept of a perfect career path. In many societies, success is defined as working your way up a corporate ladder, staying in one industry for decades, and ultimately achieving a high-paying, prestigious job. But a neurodivergent sigma female might reject this idea entirely. Instead, she may forge her own unique career, perhaps jumping across industries, working unconventional hours, or pursuing multiple passions at once. This can leave others baffled, even critical. To the outside world, her choices might seem erratic or overly ambitious, but to her, it's just another way of staying true to herself. This defiance of traditional roles isn't limited to careers. Social norms, too, come under scrutiny. Neurodivergent sigma females don't feel obligated to fit into pre-established molds. If the world expects them to prioritize family over personal growth or conform to traditional gender roles, they push back. They recognize that these expectations don't align with their true selves. And while this refusal to conform is inspiring, it often makes others uncomfortable. Why? Because their ability to think differently highlights the limitations of conventional thinking. Even in personal relationships, neurodivergent sigma females often challenge the status quo. They may reject societal timelines for marriage or having children, or they might redefine what a meaningful relationship looks like. While many people might follow scripts handed to them by culture, these women write their own, and in doing so, they shine a light on just how restrictive those scripts can be. This can make people around them feel defensive or uneasy because it forces them to confront questions they may not want to answer. The discomfort that neurodivergent Sigma females create is rooted in fear of change and fear of the unknown. When someone challenges long-held beliefs and systems, it forces others to question their own choices and the stability of the world they've built around them. But this discomfort isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's often the first step toward growth and progress. By questioning the status quo, these women pave the way for innovation and greater understanding. It's important to note that challenging the status quo isn't about rebellion for the sake of rebellion. Neurodivergent Sigma females aren't trying to reason to, they see through facades, small talk, surface-level interactions, and playing along with social niceties. These are staples of human interaction that help many people get by in daily life. For most, it's easier to follow the script, exchanging pleasantries, asking how someone's day was without expecting a real answer, or avoiding deeper topics to keep things light and comfortable. But for neurodivergent Sigma females, that kind of shallow engagement simply doesn't cut it. These women are hardwired for depth and authenticity. They have a knack for cutting through the noise and getting to the heart of a person, situation, or conversation. While many might politely nod and go along with a half-hearted explanation or a generic response, neurodivergent Sigma females see beyond the words. They pick up on inconsistencies, underlying emotions, and unsaid truths. It's as if they have a built-in radar for detecting when something, or someone, isn't quite what it seems. This ability to see through facades is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a superpower. It allows these women to build connections with people on a much deeper level, bypassing the superficial and diving straight into meaningful interactions. They thrive in honest conversations and are often the ones people turn to when they want to be truly understood. In a world where authenticity can be rare, their ability to foster genuine connections is a breath of fresh air. However, this superpower comes with its challenges. Many people are not comfortable being seen so clearly. When a neurodivergent Sigma female calls out a half-truth or probes deeper into a topic others want to gloss over, it can feel unsettling. Most people wear facades, whether to protect themselves, maintain appearances, or conform to societal expectations, and having someone see past that can feel like having their armor stripped away. This discomfort can lead to misunderstandings. Neurodivergent Sigma females might be labeled as too intense, overly analytical, or even difficult. In reality, they're simply seeking authenticity, something they deeply value. But in a world that often prioritizes appearances over substance, their pursuit of honesty can leave them feeling isolated. It's not that they don't want to connect, it's that they can't settle for superficiality. And when others can't meet them at their level of depth, it can lead to feelings of loneliness. Another challenge is the emotional labor that comes with constantly seeing through facades. It's not easy to pick up on the unspoken struggles or hidden motives of those around them. It can feel exhausting to carry the weight of understanding others so deeply, while not always receiving the same level of understanding in return. Despite these challenges, this ability is what makes neurodivergent Sigma females such powerful forces for change. They push for realness in a world that often settles for pretenses. Their insights and authenticity can inspire others to drop their own masks and embrace their true selves. Ultimately, while this superpower may leave them feeling isolated at times, it's also what makes them invaluable to those who truly get to know them. Their gift of seeing through facades isn't just about understanding others. It's about showing the world the transformative power of authenticity. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. Let's see how global our community is. Reason 3. Their independence threatens traditional roles. Independence is one of the defining traits of neurodivergent Sigma females. These women are not followers. They don't look to others for validation, nor do they wait for permission to pursue their goals. Instead, they are self-reliant trailblazers who carve their own paths with confidence and determination. While this is a source of their strength, it can also put them at odds with a world that often clings to traditional roles and expectations, particularly for women. Society has long had a set script for how women are supposed to behave, think, and live. Traditional gender roles often dictate that women should prioritize relationships, family, and community over their individual aspirations. They're often expected to seek approval from others, fit into predefined molds, and align their decisions with societal norms. But neurodivergent Sigma females reject these constraints. Their independence isn't a rebellion, it's simply an intrinsic part of who they are. They see traditional roles as arbitrary and limiting, and they're not afraid to chart a course that suits their unique strengths and desires. For instance, many Sigma females prioritize their personal growth careers or creative endeavors over conventional milestones like settling down, getting married, or having children by a certain age. This isn't because they devalue these things, it's because they want to approach them on their own terms. If they choose to start a family, it's because it aligns with their goals, not because it's expected of them. And if they choose to focus entirely on their passions or independence, they refuse to feel guilty for it. This level of autonomy can be deeply threatening to people who are invested in upholding traditional gender roles. Independence challenges the notion that women should rely on others, whether it's a partner, family, or even societal approval, for their sense of identity and purpose. Neurodivergent Sigma females stand as a direct contrast to this outdated expectation. Their refusal to conform often leaves people uncomfortable, confused, or even defensive. Take the workplace as an example. A neurodivergent Sigma female may refuse to engage in office politics, resist being micromanaged, or demand equal treatment and opportunities. This assertiveness can be seen as disruptive in environments where women are still expected to play supportive roles or defer to authority. Similarly, in personal relationships, their self-sufficiency might intimidate partners who expect traditional dynamics or who feel challenged by their independence. It's not just their actions that disrupt traditional roles, it's their mindset. Neurodivergent Sigma females don't just push boundaries, they live beyond them. They don't measure their worth through external validation or societal standards. Instead, they forge their own definitions of success and happiness, often prioritizing freedom, authenticity, and personal fulfillment over social approval. This unwavering sense of self can inspire others, but also provoke resistance from those who fear change. While their independence may threaten traditional roles, it's also what makes neurodivergent Sigma females such powerful agents of progress. They show the world that women don't have to fit into narrow boxes to lead meaningful, impactful lives. By refusing to settle for outdated expectations, they open doors for others to redefine their own roles and paths. Their independence isn't just a personal quality, it's a statement. It's a reminder that true fulfillment comes not from following someone else's script, but from writing your own. Neurodivergent Sigma females challenge the world to expand its understanding of what women can and should be, proving that independence is not a threat, it's a gift. Reason 4. They're misunderstood as too intense. Neurodivergent Sigma females possess a unique intensity that sets them apart from the crowd. This intensity often stems from their laser-sharp focus, deep passion, and unwavering commitment to authenticity. They approach life with a level of depth and purpose that can be hard for others to fully grasp. While these traits are integral to their brilliance, they are frequently misunderstood. Many people misinterpret their intensity as arrogance, being difficult, or simply too much. At the heart of this misunderstanding is the way society tends to value conformity over individuality. Most social interactions are built around unwritten rules: be polite, stay agreeable, and don't make waves. But for neurodivergent Sigma females, this can feel unnatural. Their minds are constantly buzzing with ideas, questions, and insights. When they're passionate about something, they dive in head first, eager to explore every nuance. This intensity isn't about trying to outshine others. It's about fully engaging with what matters to them. Unfortunately, in a world that often celebrates surface-level engagement, this depth can be misread. For example, in professional settings, a neurodivergent Sigma female might passionately advocate for a new idea or challenge outdated practices. Her drive to improve things and ask tough questions can be seen as disruptive by those who prefer maintaining the status quo. Colleagues may label her as arrogant or overly ambitious, when in reality she's simply wired to think critically and push boundaries. Similarly, her attention to detail and refusal to settle for mediocrity might lead others to see her as too demanding when she's just striving for excellence. This misunderstanding often extends into personal relationships as well. Neurodivergent Sigma females value honesty, depth, and authenticity, and they bring these qualities into their connections with others. They won't settle for shallow conversations or unexamined routines. Instead, they want to build meaningful, transformative bonds. However, this can sometimes overwhelm people who aren't used to that level of openness or introspection. Their intensity may make others feel exposed or uncomfortable, leading to the perception that they're too much to handle. Adding to the challenge is the fact that neurodivergent Sigma females often express themselves in ways that defy societal norms. They may speak bluntly, prioritize logic over politeness, or focus so intently on a subject that they lose track of social cues. While these traits are part of what makes them brilliant and innovative, they can also make them appear unapproachable or overly serious to those who don't take the time to understand them. This misunderstanding can be isolating. When people misinterpret their intentions, neurodivergent Sigma females may feel like they're walking a tightrope, caught between being true to themselves and trying to conform to avoid being judged. The constant mislabeling of their intensity as arrogance or difficulty can erode their confidence, making them question their worth or place in the world. But despite these challenges, their intensity remains their greatest strength. What makes neurodivergent Sigma females truly remarkable is that their intensity is rooted in a profound sense of purpose. They care deeply about the things they believe in, and they approach life with a determination that inspires others, even if it's not immediately recognized. Their ability to think deeply and act passionately allows them to see opportunities, solve problems, and create change where others might not. To fully appreciate neurodivergent Sigma females, society needs to shift its perspective. Instead of labeling their intensity as too much, we should recognize it as a rare gift. It's this intensity that drives innovation, fuels creativity, and challenges outdated ways of thinking. Without individuals who are willing to push boundaries and dive deep, progress would stagnate. If you're loving this content so far, stick around. Reasons 4 and 5 are about to blow your mind. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Point 5. They prioritize growth over approval. In a world where social validation often feels like the ultimate goal, Neurodivergent Sigma females stand apart by choosing a different path. While many people seek approval and external recognition to affirm their worth, these women prioritize something far more meaningful: their own growth and evolution. They're not driven by the need to fit in or gain applause. Instead, they focus on becoming the best versions of themselves. This commitment to self-improvement is one of their most defining traits. Yet it's also one that can be easily misunderstood. For neurodivergent Sigma females, growth is a deeply personal journey. They're constantly examining their own thoughts, behaviors, and patterns, seeking ways to improve and evolve. Whether it's diving into a new skill, challenging their comfort zones, or reflecting on past mistakes to become better, their lives are centered around progress. This mindset isn't about perfection, it's about living authentically and striving to grow every day. However, this dedication to growth can make them seem aloof or detached to those who don't understand them. Unlike many who place a high value on external validation, likes on social media, praise from peers, or approval from authority figures, Sigma females don't feel the same need for outside recognition. They're not interested in pleasing others for the sake of acceptance or following trends to fit in. To them, chasing approval is a distraction from what truly matters: their inner journey. This independence can sometimes create a perception that they're uninterested in others or unwilling to engage socially. In reality, it's not that they don't care about people, it's that they're selective about where they invest their time and energy. They prefer to surround themselves with individuals who share their commitment to growth or who inspire them to think differently. Relationships for them are about mutual enrichment, not superficial approval. Their focus on self-improvement can also challenge societal norms, especially for women, who are often expected to seek validation through relationships, appearance, or conformity. Neurodivergent Sigma females defy these expectations. They don't mold themselves to meet others' standards or strive to be liked at the expense of their authenticity. Instead, they stand firm in their values and pursue what genuinely fulfills them, even if it means standing alone. This commitment to growth over approval is a powerful quality, but it comes with challenges. Others may misinterpret their independence as arrogance or coldness. Some might feel uncomfortable around them because their self-assuredness highlights insecurities in others. Additionally, the path of personal growth can be isolating, as it requires a willingness to go against the grain and prioritize inner work over external rewards. Despite these challenges, neurodivergent Sigma females continue to evolve. They understand that true fulfillment doesn't come from external applause, but from aligning with their values and pursuing meaningful goals. They embody the idea that growth is a lifelong process, not a destination, and that self-approval is the only kind of validation that truly matters. The choice to prioritize growth over approval is what makes neurodivergent Sigma females so extraordinary. Their focus on self-improvement, authenticity, and personal evolution inspires others to reevaluate their own paths. While their independence may be misunderstood, it's ultimately what allows them to lead lives of depth, purpose, and genuine fulfillment. Reason 6. They value depth over popularity. In today's world, where social media likes, followers, and fleeting trends dominate the cultural landscape, the priorities of neurodivergent Sigma females stand in stark contrast. While many people chase popularity and external validation, these women focus on something far more meaningful: depth. They crave authenticity, meaningful connections, and deep conversations that go beyond surface-level interactions. This preference for depth is what makes them so unique and refreshing. But it's also a path that can feel isolating in a society that often prioritizes quantity over quality. Neurodivergent Sigma females don't see the appeal of being popular for popularity's sake. They're not interested in fitting in, following trends, or maintaining a curated image to gain approval. Instead, they value connections and experiences that truly matter, whether it's a heartfelt discussion about life's challenges, a shared passion for an intellectual pursuit, or simply the presence of someone who understands them on a profound level. They thrive on substance. Shallow interactions and performative relationships don't resonate with them, and they won't pretend otherwise. This emphasis on depth often sets them apart in a world driven by superficial measures of worth. For instance, social media rewards users for content that garners quick attention, bright photos, catchy captions, or viral moments. But for neurodivergent Sigma females, these platforms can feel hollow. They're not concerned with likes or shares. They're more likely to use these spaces to express genuine thoughts, connect with like-minded individuals, or advocate for meaningful causes. Their detachment from the popularity race may be misunderstood as disinterest, but it's actually a reflection of their deeper priorities. In personal relationships, this preference for depth means they often seek out kindred spirits rather than large social circles. They're not the life of the party, and they don't feel the need to be. Instead, they build small, tight-knit circles of friends and confidants who share their values and can engage in the kinds of rich, thought-provoking conversations they love. This makes their relationships incredibly meaningful, but can also limit their opportunities for connection. In a world where many prioritize networking and expanding their social reach, Sigma females often stand apart, choosing quality over quantity every time. However, this focus on depth can sometimes feel isolating. Because they value genuine connections, they may find it challenging to relate to others who prioritize popularity or casual interaction. In social settings, they might feel out of place, as their desire for real engagement can clash with the light-hearted, performative nature of many group dynamics. This disconnect can lead to feelings of loneliness, even when surrounded by people, because they'd rather be alone than engage in superficiality. Despite this isolation, their preference for depth is ultimately a source of strength. It allows neurodivergent Sigma females to build relationships and experiences that are truly fulfilling. By rejecting the empty allure of popularity, they create space for the things that genuinely matter. Their focus on depth is also a reminder to others that life isn't about how many people you know or how much attention you receive. It's about the quality of your connections and the meaning you find in them. In conclusion, neurodivergent Sigma females' decision to value depth over popularity sets them apart in a profound way. While it may sometimes leave them feeling isolated in a world obsessed with clout and superficial measures of success, it's also what makes their lives rich and rewarding. They show us the power of authenticity and the importance of seeking connections and experiences that truly resonate. In a world that often values appearances, they remind us of the unmatched beauty of substance. Reason 7. They struggle in systems that don't support. Neurodivergent Sigma females often find themselves at odds with the systems designed to structure society. From rigid school curriculums to traditional workplaces, the world tends to cater to a narrow range of abilities and ways of thinking. These systems are built on conformity, predictability, and one-size-fits-all solutions, qualities that don't align with the unique strengths and needs of neurodivergent individuals. For Sigma females, who are already independent thinkers and nonconformists, navigating these environments can feel like swimming against the tide. Take the education system, for example. Schools often prioritize standardized testing, rote memorization, and rigid schedules. For neurodivergent minds that thrive on creativity, curiosity, and unconventional problem-solving, these structures can be stifling. A neurodivergent Sigma female might struggle with sitting through repetitive lessons, yet excel when given the freedom to explore topics that ignite her passion. Unfortunately, instead of recognizing her potential, the system may label her as distracted or difficult. She's forced to fit into a mold that doesn't accommodate her strengths, making learning a frustrating and alienating experience. The workplace presents similar challenges. Traditional corporate environments often value hierarchy, strict routines, and uniform approaches to problem solving. Neurodivergent Sigma females, however, bring innovation, out-of-the-box thinking, and a preference for autonomy. These traits, while valuable, can clash with conventional expectations. For instance, she might resist micromanagement or question inefficient processes, which could be seen as disruptive rather than constructive. Her need for flexibility or alternative workflows might not be understood or supported, leaving her feeling undervalued and unheard. What makes these struggles even more daunting is the effort it takes for neurodivergent Sigma females to advocate for themselves. In systems that don't recognize or accommodate neurodiversity, they often have to fight twice as hard just to be seen and heard. Whether it's requesting reasonable adjustments in the workplace, explaining their needs in an educational setting, or challenging societal norms, the burden of adaptation falls disproportionately on their shoulders. This constant battle can be exhausting, both mentally and emotionally. It can leave neurodivergent Sigma females feeling like they're always on the defensive, having to prove their worth or justify their way of thinking. Yet, despite these challenges, they persist. Their resilience and determination enable them to carve out spaces where they can thrive, even within systems that weren't built for them. The world's rigid systems often fail to support neurodivergent Sigma females, forcing them to navigate environments that don't align with their strengths. While these struggles can be isolating and exhausting, they also highlight the courage and ingenuity of these women as they continue to push for change and create new pathways for themselves and others. Can you believe we're already at Reason 8? Make sure you're subscribed for more content like this. Reason 8. They're ahead of their time. Neurodivergent Sigma females possess a unique ability to see the world not just as it is, but as it could be. Their minds are wired for innovation, critical thinking, and imagining possibilities beyond the conventional. As a result, they often think and act years, sometimes decades, ahead of societal trends. They're the visionaries who disrupt the status quo and pave the way for progress. However, living in a world that hasn't caught up to their ideas and perspectives can be both a blessing and a challenge. These women are natural innovators. They spot inefficiencies in systems, envision creative solutions, and anticipate future needs long before others do. Whether it's introducing new ways of thinking in the workplace, questioning outdated social norms, or exploring uncharted creative territory, neurodivergent Sigma females are constantly pushing boundaries. This foresight allows them to excel in fields that reward originality and boldness, from technology and entrepreneurship to art and activism. Take, for example, a neurodivergent Sigma female who challenges the rigid 9-to-5 work culture. While others might accept the traditional office routine, she sees its limitations and advocates for remote work or flexible schedules long before these ideas become mainstream. Or consider the woman who questions consumerism, choosing sustainability and minimalism at a time when society is still celebrating excess. These ideas, though ahead of their time, often face resistance. Society tends to cling to the familiar, and those who introduce change are frequently misunderstood or dismissed as too radical or unrealistic. This is where the challenge lies. Being ahead of one's time often means living in a state of perpetual misunderstanding. Neurodivergent Sigma females may encounter skepticism, criticism, or outright rejection from those who struggle to see the value in their ideas. Their visionary thinking can make them feel isolated, as others fail to recognize the brilliance in their perspective. It can be frustrating to hold a clear vision of what the future could look like while feeling stuck in a present that doesn't align with their values. Despite these difficulties, their ability to think ahead is also a powerful gift. It's their ideas and actions that lay the groundwork for societal transformation. History is filled with examples of individuals who were once seen as outliers, but later celebrated as pioneers. Neurodivergent Sigma females embody this spirit of innovation. They don't wait for the world to catch up. They forge ahead, knowing that their contributions might only be fully understood and appreciated in hindsight. Living ahead of one's time requires immense courage and resilience. These women must navigate the tension between staying true to their vision and dealing with a world that often resists change. Yet, it's this very tension that makes their journey so impactful. By standing firm in their beliefs and pursuing their ideas, they inspire others to think differently and embrace progress. Neurodivergent Sigma females are not just outliers, they're trailblazers. Their ability to think and act ahead of their time is both their challenge and their superpower. While the world may not always understand them in the moment, their vision and determination ultimately lead to meaningful change. They remind us that innovation often starts with those who dare to see the future before it arrives. And that, my friends, is why the world isn't ready yet. But just imagine what could happen if we embraced them fully. The point is, neurodivergent Sigma females are here to shake things up, and the world needs to make space for them. If you're one of these women, or you know someone who is, take this as a reminder. Your unique perspective is your superpower. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic. What resonated with you? Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. And don't forget to check out my other videos for more insights on Sigma females and neurodiversity.